All right, what is up, Maniacs? Welcome back to Sound and Pound. It is Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024. My goodness, April's almost over now, Alex, but we continue on trucking through the year, the calendar, in the wake of UFC 300, which means back to the good old everyone's favorite Apex, UFC Vegas 91 this week. We'll get into all that good stuff and more. Of course, we are your hosts, Drake Riggs and Alex Bunin, here every single week to bring you the wacky goodness and everything going on in the world of mixed martial arts. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all the stuff if you are new here. And thank you so much for tuning in wherever you are doing. So, what, Alex, just how are we doing? How was the week off after the madness? I'm glad they gave us a break after such a a big event.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice. Yeah, it was nice. The Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney fight was just fucking insane, and PFL had a pretty good card. So it was nice.
Yes, yeah, there was it was a nice little, I don't want to say sample platter because it was just, you go from UFC 300 to no UFC and it's like, wow, it's light load this week. But that's totally fine with me in that case.
Yeah.
But I will also mention, you guys, that we do have a special guest today. Will be joining us soon, and we'll be getting some good insight into what's been happening with them recently. And I mean, I guess we can give spoilers just because, we trust them to come on in. But we'll be joined by the Sleek Sheik, Sabah Homasi, will be coming in here at some point during the show, so you guys can get ready for that. But Ghost is here real quick, who modded. He's asking how to star because he's going to help me out with organizing our comments. And of course, you guys feel free to get in your comments and all that throughout. But he says you can only hide people or block them. Well, I guess my plan was not working. Then we'll have to figure that out as we go. Yeah, I guess I'll continue to do it for today. But yeah, we'll work on that, Ghost, over time. So, all right, Alex, let's just get right on into it. Start off with the maniacal moment of the week, and I'll start off first because I feel like this is a pretty clear one, taken from the PFL this past week in Chicago, right? I mean, Logan Storley got murdered by Shamil Musayev. Wow. If anybody saw that knockout, very violent, very brutal. Just over like a minute, if I'm remembering correctly, Alex. It was pretty quick. Logan Storley, of course, been
Second round.
Oh, second round. Okay, very quick into the second round. That's right. Been a very legit guy who kind of gotten, top 20 maybe at best worldwide at a point when he was kind of climbing, challenging for the Bellator title and all that stuff. Of course, has had his setbacks now, but I didn't expect him to get absolutely smashed the way he was by Shamil, who was incredibly legit in his own right, undefeated still, all that good stuff. But that was pretty crazy to see, especially mainly in terms of the finish, because it was pretty brutal. So how do you feel this week, Alex, for the maniacal moment?
Yeah, no, for sure. PFL has some good ones. I mean, I'm just going to lean into Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney, man. That was mental illness wins.
He was faking it, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. He came out and said it was all part of his plan. He said he told his buddies and his family he was going to act all crazy, and he sure did. And I think he tricked everybody, and just went out there and put on the performance of his life, and beat a very, very good Devin Haney, and set himself up for a humongous next fight. It was a very fun fight, and I had a feeling that it was going to be kind of like a boring fight, like a boring Devin Haney fight, and turned out to be very fun because Ryan Garcia knocked him down 3 times, and so it was fun.
Dude, I was totally joking about that. I think it was the day of, because I did my stream on my personal channel, and I was like, you guys, it's gonna be, I feel like, all these elements. Of course, it's been concerning. We talked about it when we were hanging out at your place and everything,
Yeah.
but it would just be the greatest troll job ever if he was just kind of amping it up, getting all this attention, people saying cancel the fight, and he goes out there and styles on him. And what do you know?
Crazy, dude. I
But
know, crazy. And there's like a little hint of me. I was like, the boxing judges are gonna it's gonna be a draw or Devin Hayes gonna win, and then they're just gonna fuck Ryan Garcia. So I was
find
like,
a way
oh,
to, yeah,
yeah,
as they do, but
yeah.
thankfully not this time. Um, Rain says, in GQ, doing what I do, all white, looking nice. Okay, come through the Ryan Garcia of Kokonari. Did he say that? Is that a quote? I wouldn't be surprised.
Right.
He has said some pretty funny things, unintentionally or intentionally. As it goes, his maniacal moment is so clear. It's power slap showing up in the Hitman game. Not only is it part of the game, it helps you get an unnoticed assassination. So yeah, that was from my stream, Alex. I don't know if you saw the clip I posted, but
Yeah, silly.
the power slap in the latest Hitman game. Not literally like power slap, but slap fighting, which was very unexpected. I didn't plan on seeing that on my Saturday. That was a good fun time. And Synchro says, what about the Loughnane fight? That seemed like a weird stoppage. It was a little bit of a weird one. But he says happy for Loughnane. He got a bounce back. He trades at Bang Tao. Yeah, well, how'd you feel about that fight, Alex?
I mean, it was an early stoppage, but like they could have the referee could have stopped him the first time he knocked him down, and but also like the referee was kind of just saving him from more damage, right? Like Brandon was going to put him out, and I guess like technically probably the ref should have let him, but I guess he just wanted to save him from more brain damage. So
Yeah,
whatever. I was fine with it. Pedro wasn't going to beat Brandon Loughnane, so
yeah. I mean, we knew that was just. We'll try not to get into it too much today, but shitty matchmaking as per usual.
Yes.
Which I guess that could count as a maniacal moment because yesterday's announcement, boy, oh boy. But Hype is here. Real quick shout out to him, man. New mod for us because I had to reward the guy since he bought me Sifu and I appreciate it oh so much. So I'll be playing that the next time I'm on, but greatly appreciate the guy. He is the man. So give some love to Hype, everybody. And Rain says, yeah, that is a quote from a GQ interview with him and Devin Haney. That's hilarious. I'm not surprised. Synchro says the guy that beat Loughnane wasn't supposed to beat the other dude. I mean, it's all a mess, isn't it? It's all a mess. I feel like we have to touch on that now, Alex. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the fight announcements. Just the two, which I think is weird.
Yeah, so this is gonna be my underrated moment of the week. I'm just gonna throw it out there, so I don't have to answer it. But like,
segue.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's so obvious. It's just like it's so obvious what the PFL is doing, and like if they really want to, it just kind of shows how high the UFC are, and like just how unstoppable they are. Because this is supposed to be the second best MMA promotion, and they're doing favorable matchmaking, which obviously the UFC is doing too. I mean, like obviously, right? But like this is like it's supposed to be a season format. It's supposed to be like for $1 million. It's supposed to be like meritocracy at its finest, right? Like, and they're not. It's not that way at all. It's just not, and it's just so clear what they're doing. It's not fair, and now the fighters are starting to like kind of push back on it and talk about it, which none of the fighters did that before. Really, like they would do it off the record or like be like, oh, it is what it is. But now, like now the MMA fighters are like, yeah, it's fucking bullshit, bro. Like we know exactly what you're doing. And Angela Hill said it best, I think, either in a tweet or an Instagram post, like Jenna Bitch was beating the girl. like it's just the winner should fight the losers, or like honestly, I think the fighters should have their first two fights already booked before the season starts, so they know exactly who they're fighting and everything like that, right? Like that, I think that's the most
because the timing's the same no matter what.
Yeah. And
and that's how seasons work. Actually,
1000%. Every fucking you look at a season in any sport, that's how it works, right? Like
that's
you know who you're
point.
fighting, right? So it's just bullshit, bro. And it's just like it's getting to the point where it's like corrupt is such a strong word, but like it's fucking crap.
It's like,
bro.
yeah. I don't, because like technically it's not right. It's just kind of blatant favoritism is a big way to put it. And
It's like,
boo who they want.
and I've seen people like, obviously they're like giving Dakota these softball matchups, and it's the same thing of giving Sean O'Malley softball matchups and stuff. But like, is it though? Like, is it the same?
It's like in terms of matchups, sure, but like the level of it is very different, because there's still a chance that those people had beating him. It just was tougher because of how they had to do it because of the styles clash. In these cases, it's like no matter what, they're fighting the most uphill battle. But yeah, I think you said all that very well. And the stupidest thing to me that becomes more and more evident each year as they continue to do this is with you know with the season format, season specifically, like you said, lay it out where everybody knows entirely. That's perfect and truer to an actual season. But the problem is, you just can't fucking do a season with MMA, right? Like
It
the
doesn't work.
problem,
It
you
doesn't
can't
work.
condense the amount of fights equivalent to games needed in a season span in this sport because it's a two fight regular season, Alex. That's what it is. And so with a team sport like NFL or football, basketball, that stuff, and you go on, the losses and whatnot don't matter as much. Of course they do, but because there's more of them, it's like the math, right? But you go from this after the first round to winners fighting losers, which is going to be how all the matchups are. You guys just get ready because that's how they do it. It just is fucking annoying and doesn't really make sense because it's these two. It's two fights.
Yeah, 1000%. And plus, like, I appreciate that they want to reward finishes, right? And everybody,
Yeah.
MMA fans love finishes. I don't give a
That
fuck.
part's fine.
Yeah,
That part's
it
fine.
is. But like, Liz Carmouche isn't a finisher, right? But she's clearly the
She
best
has been
flyweight.
lately.
She's clearly the best flyweight in that bracket. But
Yeah.
there's a chance that she's not going to make the playoffs. There's a very, very good chance she's not. So like, it just doesn't make any fucking sense at all. Like to not reward the best fighter in the division because she can't finish fights, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like,
And especially
what?
depending who she gets matched with, right? Let's say she gets
Yeah,
Santos next, and they're like, okay, fuckers, I see.
right. So it's just like, yeah, no, she's fighting Watanabe again. So it's like,
Right. Which I mean, she did finish the first time, but yeah, no point. Totally stands.
it's just like it makes zero sense to me, and like it just does not work. And like if they want to do something like this, like just do a straight tournament style. Like that's how this stuff has always worked in MMA. Like a season just does not work in MMA. It just doesn't work that way because of the matchmaking. It's just not fair. It's not fair to the other fighters. And obviously, like, it's at the end of the day, it's a business. MMA is a business, and the PFL is doing what's best for business. But like, if you're doing what's best for business, take out what you're kind of selling as it's a like real sport. It's a real you fight your way to the It's like, no, it's not. You're handpicking who you want.
Yeah, for sure. And we haven't even mentioned the fucking no elbows either. So whatever can get rid of that.
Yeah. So it's just like, bro, it's just like it's sad to see, like, bro, the UFC needs competition. Obviously, like MMA space needs competition,
And they have the roster to do it now. Is the
right
most frustrating part.
1000%. They have the roster, but it just kind of shows how far and away the UFC is to fucking PFL tour, bro. It's not even in the same fucking breath, right? It's just like it's not. It's it just sucks.
It's so bizarre to me too, wrapping up on this because it's so easy to rant about, but like I just don't understand the thought to even how they think that people will be interested in it, because you look at the two fights that we have, right? Official so far is Dakota versus Chelsea Hackett, and then Moldavsky and Vassell 3, right? It's the trilogy fight. But again, these are both winner versus loser matchups. It looks like the trilogy fight's the main event, which is like, okay, all right.
Who wants to watch that? Who wants to watch it though?
Somebody in here does, but yeah. It's it's just kind of mind blowing, really.
Yeah, like, and then Talia Santos versus Jenna Bishop is booked. Like, it's just like, what? What are we
At
doing?
least
What are we
that
doing?
one's winners, though. That's winners fighting each other, at least. But yeah,
Yeah, but Dakota gets a 4-2-1 Chelsea Hackett. Like what? What are we? At least like it's just it's just so clear what they're doing, and it's very frustrating and like frustrating for fucking me. I couldn't imagine what fucking Jenna Bishop's like, dude. What? Like I just got a first round finish. Now I'm fighting Talia Santos. What? Like
yeah, right. It's you feel like you're comfortable, and then you're not at
yeah,
all.
like and then Dakota. Dakota gets a first round finish and she's fighting Chelsea Hackett. What the like? What are we doing here?
Yeah, and as I said too, like out of the fighters we already know, I've heard from some others too, off the record, like Alex was saying that people aren't exactly the happiest. Some even have gone on from that. I think Liz even said it afterwards after her last fight. It was like, yeah, this is kind of
Yeah, I mean,
interesting.
and if you look, I look at the matchups. Like, there's a good chance Liz does not make the playoffs, which would be like what? Like,
I would
the
just try
fuck?
and leave if I was her and that happens,
Like, it's insane, bro. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Cornelius says, maybe you've talked about this, but smart cage analytics are very distracting. The UFC puts up stats, but intermittently, and it doesn't distract from the fight. So I feel like they've gotten better with like that stuff, Alex, this year. Definitely, they're not showing as much of the kind of the nonsense and things that we don't need to know about, from what I can tell, comparatively. But yeah, they still have little things they like to point out, of course. Go says underrated moment. The UFC having no card last week was very refreshing. There you go. Gunther says, do you know of the old Pride one-day tournament format in the early 2000s? Could PFL do something like that? I mean, they didn't do the same exact thing, but they did used to have multiple fights on one night. Remember? Like, I think we talked about this a week or two ago, but that's like what their very first season was like when Blagoy Ivanov won the heavyweight title. He fought twice in a night, and so did everybody. Then I think it was what they would do the two and then fight twice on the third day of the year, whatever. So that's the closest, and they could do, and that was the whole reason. This is how it came to be. How we were talking about it. That was how the elbows came into play to not do them. But now it doesn't fucking make any sense. So
yeah. I would just love to hear what Don Davis has to say about how the matchmakers are cherry picking these fights. Well,
somebody will ask him. Oh boy. Let me see here. Oh yeah, only synchro to watch with him. So yes, I was alluding to.
Dude, yeah. After Lynn's last fight in PFL, I don't want to watch him anymore, bro.
He does have a win. They're tied. They need the tiebreaker.
Yeah, put that shit on the fucking prelims, bro.
Oh man. All right. Well, there was one more other thing I did want to mention for underrated moment, because Don Madge submitted Brendan Ward, Alex, which that caught me off guard, and that was the quick one. I think I got my times mixed up on the Storley fight there, obviously.
Insane fight.
I mean, gosh, he suppressed the chaos of Brendan Ward, right? Pretty neutralized it, got the neck, and that was pretty much a wrap. But he had to be a decent dog, right, Alex? I mean, did you end up seeing? But favored for sure.
No, Brendan Ward was an underdog. He was a plus.
Oh wow,
plus 130.
Okay, so a close one, but
and I know that because I bet on Brendan Ward.
Well, there you go. But man, Don Match kind of come a long way though. Are we feeling better about him though? How did you think of that?
Yeah, no, for sure. It was a great win, man. Like anytime you go out there, finish Brendan Ward, who is a just absolute madman, like props, right? And then the way that he did it, props, man. The welterweight division had a lot of finishes, so it was fun to see.
Yes, for sure. And then Ghost with a great shout, saying another underrated moment. Craig Jones getting 2 submissions on Renan Fakhretdinov at the Karate Combat Arena. Yeah, that was quite something. Referee issues.
Yeah, Luke Rockhold with the with the nice knockout of Joe Schilling.
Yes, that was also very nice, but absolutely perfect timing because we were between segments here. And now we have the man of the hour, our guest to join us. Let's bring on in the Sleek Sheik himself, Sabah Homasi. How are you doing, sir?
Good, guys. How are you?
Good, bro. Good. How dude? But before we get into everything, just how are you?
I'm good, man. You know, it's another day. I'm just a little upset over the fact that they hadn't released me. Got that, but it's okay, man. One door closes and other opportunities arise. So I'm not worried about what I bring to the table. I know how exciting I am, and I know my skill set. I know who I train with on a daily basis. I know what I'm capable of doing, and I'm extremely confident in what I'm capable of doing. But it is what it is. I can't. What am I going to do? Am I going to dwell on it?
Right. Can you take us through the timeline? When were you released? Like, were you released as the merger happened, or were you released after your fight? And then we'll get into them not paying for surgeries, obviously. Or
Are we being recorded right now?
yes, sir.
We are live, sir. At your own discretion.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Alex, did you not tell our guest that we were a live show?
Maybe.
Anyway.
I find out about this. I found out about this a couple months ago. It wasn't too long. Yeah, maybe February, I want to say.
Okay.
But January, February, somewhere around there. Definitely in the beginning of the new year, that's for sure. But then, trying to get this whole thing sorted out with them regarding the money that I came out of pocket for surgery, and it was never an issue prior, obviously with the Viacom owners and whatnot. Ian Matthews, he is the guy on the Bellator side. I don't know if you're familiar with him, guys, but he pretty much deals with the insurance. And, if you get injured, trying to fight or whatever, you would deal with Ian Matthews. He ties you in with the insurance, gives you all the information to give them, your doctors and whatnot. And obviously, if you need surgery, you have to go through a whole approval process. And that's what I was dealing with after my last one, fractured my orbital. Went from the venue to the hospital, and so they knew everything that was wrong. But they asked me if I was going to do surgery in Ireland. I said no. I'm going to fly home and do surgery with my doctors back home. So I came home. I saw my doctor, and we have a date for surgery, right? Next thing you know, they call my doctor and they ask him if he could postpone surgery for 2-3 weeks. My doctor.
Oh, I think we're muted now. I think we lost the audio. We can't hear you, Sabah. Can you hear me, Alex?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I can hear you. We just can't hear Sabah.
Yeah. I don't know if he can hear us.
He has to leave and come back in. Actually, maybe kick him.
Kick him out.
Yeah, kick him out, and have him come in back in.
Hold on. Oh, still nothing.
Yeah, have him
kick him out real quick.
Yeah.
Okay. Fun of live podcast, you guys. I don't think I can. Oh, let's see. I can remove him entirely. Oh, yeah. There we go. Okay. Sorry for the technical difficulties, everybody.
I just love technology in 2024.
Yep. He probably got like a call or something, is what that looked like.
Yeah. Right.
For Answers to Freedom here, chiming in for the tips. Yeah. That'll do it every now and then. The man who delivered the power is too sweet to be sour.
Okay.
There we go.
There you go. There you are.
Someone called me and fucked everything up.
Knew it.
I don't know where did you guys? What was the last thing that you guys were able to hear?
So you were going to get surgery, and they said to postpone it a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, they asked the doctor if he could postpone it for 2-3 weeks, and he said absolutely not. I have to go in and operate. So Ian, when we're obviously in contact, and he's telling me, okay, go ahead and pay out of pocket for surgery, and send me over all the receipts and whatnot, and we're gonna go ahead and reimburse you. And I said, sure, no problem, because in the past there was no issue. I would, if they told me to do something like that, if I was going to see a doctor, and they couldn't get the approval in time or as fast as enough, that I had to go in and see the doctor, they would tell me to pay out of pocket. They would reimburse me, and it would be very quickly that I would get reimbursed. I would send over the receipts, and then within a week I would have the money. So I went ahead and I sent Ian over all the receipts after surgery, and I had to go through a whole process. I had to see ophthalmologists, I have to get blood work done, I have to get a bunch of tests before surgery. Of course, I'm coming out of pocket. And I forwarded everything over to Ian. Well, one day comes along, we're trying to get a hold of Ian, can't get a hold of Ian. He just completely ghosted us. And I was doing an interview last night with Ryan Quinn, and I forgot to mention that Ian never forwarded those receipts to anybody. Any documents and stuff, which is okay. I still have everything. It's not a problem. But just the fact that we're in contact with this man and he's supposed to be helping me out, no one has anything that I sent to him. No one has shit. And then all of a sudden he just ghosts us. Like, why don't you just be a man about it? If you're no longer working for the company, you have nothing to do with it, just go ahead and tell us. That way we can get into who is. So we had to go through that whole process and send him over all the receipts and everything that I went ahead and paid for. And I felt like they just kept on dragging it along. And I was like, whatever, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I know they're dealing with a lot of shit. They just had a merger, a lot of things are going on. So a month goes by, 2 months go by, 3 months go by, 4 months go by. And I'm just like, dude, I'm somewhere between $30,000 and $32,000 out of pocket, So now I'm starting to be a little bit worried. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? So my manager is in contact with PFL. PFL is saying to get in contact with Viacom. I don't know if they're pointing the finger back and forth at each other. And it's just crazy that something like this at this level is happening. At this level, you're saying, you gotta take care of your fighters, man. I don't know if you're picking up what I'm throwing down.
Yes.
And they put their lives on the line every time they fight. Take care of the fighters, and I don't know how a sale typically works or when you have a merger, but I've heard a number of things. I've heard that, okay, now PFL acquires any debt that Bellator has, they acquire that. So if that's the case, I had surgery a month later, the merger happened. Okay. Let's throw that month away. You still had 6 months to deal with this. And, and I said it last night, I'll say it again. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, which I am. I'm being patient because that's all I can be, is be patient. And I told my manager last week that by the end of that week, if I didn't hear anything, that I was going to go public with it and put this out there, So here we are.
Yeah, not fun. Not fun. I'm sorry that you're going through that, man. I mean, so yeah, like you said, all you can do is be patient, but I assume then in that case, you're just trying to then stay busy to kind of make up for it at the moment. And then just, fingers crossed, everything takes care of itself. Like, what is kind of then the step forward? Is that just...
I'm getting kicked in the dick monthly. on an American Express. You know what I'm saying? So not only am I getting smacked with interest every month, I got a hefty payment every month on top of my monthly bills. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's like, it's not like the balance is going down because I pay this huge bill on the Amex every month, and then I get smacked with interest. So it's not like I'm chipping away at it.
Right.
You know, no chipping. I'm not chipping away at it by any means. And I haven't fought since last year in September. That was my last fight. I'm glad I put it on a credit card and I didn't spend my own money on it, because then I'd be in a fucking goddamn hole 100 feet above me, you know?
Right. So has PFL like basically ghosted you? Because obviously you have a lot of teammates, American Top Team, that fight for PFL. So like, are they just like kind of like what's up?
They haven't ghosted me by any means. You know, my manager's in contact with them, and like I said, a gentleman named Jim over on the PFL side is supposed to get in contact with him this week. So I'm hoping by this week that we resolve this. You know, this is what I'm hoping for, but we'll see, because every week it's either I hear the same thing every week or something slightly changes, and I'm just starting to lose patience. You know, it's like, what's the holdup?
Right.
What's the holdup? You know, why are you? And it's not just me. I come to find out that it's other fighters as well. You know, and I don't know if those other fighters were at the time that I fought during the merger or it was before. But for this to be happening at this level is beyond me. You know.
Yeah, it's pretty unacceptable. I did want to ask, when you got released, what were, obviously you've been fighting in Bellator for a while now, put on some of the best fights Bellator has seen, some wars. What were your thoughts? What were your emotions like when you got that pink slip?
Man, I was crushed, you know, because I work hard and it is what it is. My record isn't the greatest, you know what I'm saying? But you can't judge a fighter off his record. You know, I always say records are for DJs. You know, fighters improve every year. You know, as fighters, you know, you're supposed to improve. If you're not improving, then maybe this isn't for you. But I don't know. I might be signing with, most likely signing with Gamebred FC. So,
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
a lot more fun. So
Yeah, no, that is.
yeah, and
Sabah,
we'll also see what happens. You know, I'm 35 years old, and I don't feel old at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like these are my best years. You know, I'm mentally and physically there. You know, of course I've been in sports since I was 4 years old. You know, so of course my body has gone through some things, but what fighter hasn't? You know, what fighter hasn't? And as you get older, you just learn how to take care of your body better. And that's exactly what I'm doing, you know. I've been literally doing a goddamn ice bath every single day. I do cold plunges every day, you know. And that's like the best thing for me. I think for athletes in general, you know. If I don't do it in camp, I won't get through a camp. You know?
right. Yeah. So Sabah Homasi bare knuckle is a scary scary sight.
Oh yeah, man. It's I'm excited for it. I'm excited. So we'll see what happens, man. I don't know. You know, I was in talks with George. I spoke to him a few days ago. He told me that he's not going to announce his next show until after his fight. Obviously, he's boxing June 1st. Dustin is fighting June 1st as well. So after those fights, hopefully we get a date, and you know, we move forward from there. But also, my manager is telling me some other things that I really can't talk about right now, unless it happens, obviously. But, you know, there's things that are possibilities. That's for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah, exciting stuff for sure, man. And again, hopefully it all gets resolved leading up to that. If it can come together nice with the timing, that'd be great. But I'm curious though, with the whole aspect of the bare knuckle concept. Like, I mean, are you planning to, assuming it all comes together, change things up? Like, how do you imagine preparing for something like that? Obviously, you're one of the more violent guys out there, so Bob, but it shouldn't be too much of a problem. But obviously, going from gloves to no gloves,
Nothing changes, man. Nothing changes. I spoke to my teammates that are currently doing it, and they just say you don't got to put much into the punch, because bare knuckle, they're going to slice. But I don't know how to do that. It's like I can do it, but do I want to do it? No, I don't. No. I'm looking to fucking crack. But it's scary though, because I break my hands. I broke my left hand and I broke my right hand. I broke them with gloves on. So the chances of me breaking my hands in a bare knuckle fight probably go up. But don't threaten me with a good time.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. And then finally, obviously, your teammate, good friend Dustin Poirier's got the Islam fight, man. Obviously, you're gonna back your guy, but kind of how you see that fight kind of playing down, and were you surprised that Dustin got the title shot?
I wasn't surprised that he got it because of, you got to take a look at the outline here. You got these guys that are in title contention that are runner-ups for the title, and they're fighting 6 weeks before the fight. The chances of them being able to compete in 6 weeks are very slim. You got to take into consideration, you're going into a fight, you're going to get some sort of damage. Unless you come out of a fight unscathed and you're healthy and you're able, but who's going to take on 6 weeks notice right after their fight, you got some bumps and bruises, who's going to go and fight for the title? So I was really hoping that it panned out the way it did, and it did. So I'm happy for him, man. And it would be a beautiful ending to his story. I'm just super happy for everything that has happened in his life, the way it happened and the way it's going. And him becoming the undisputed UFC champion is a beautiful story ending,
Yeah, hard to disagree with, but all right, Alex. Well, if anything left for him, or don't want to keep you too much longer.
Yeah, awesome, Spell. Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking openly about it. It's I mean, like you said, I feel like a promotion at their standard, at their height, should be able to figure out some insurances, especially from the company that they took on. So we really hope that you get it figured out. They pay you, and hopefully next time we talk, you'll have a game bred fight going, and you'll be paid for your injuries.
Yeah, man, I'm hoping. Look, like I said, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I know they have a lot of stuff going on at their end, but 7 months, that's a little excessive. And I believe that this will be resolved. I just hope sooner than later.
Awesome. Yeah,
absolutely,
man.
Yeah, of course.
All right, have a great rest of your day, man. Thanks for hanging out.
No problem, man. Take care, guys.
Awesome. Later on. Yeah, just just to keep adding on to PFL.
I know. I was going to say it's going to be a very anti-PFL day.
We're UFC shills, bro. Right.
Yeah. As at the same time, we're getting trolled by people saying we're deleting comments. Not this is America. This is the internet, actually. But no, I'm not deleting anything. So if you're saying I will let the commenters know if you're saying really weird things. I think it auto blocks things. So I'm not doing anything. I'm okay. Ghost, thank you. Yeah, that's what the mods are for. See people fucking coming at us while we're in the middle of an interview. Geez, are they even reading the comments? Yes. What do you want? But thank you to our 500 viewers across all platforms right now. If you are tuning in, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. But yes, that is wild, and it's kind of terrible timing. Good timing, I think, for the fighters. But last week Mousasi said his issues publicly, which I don't think he's going to get resolved. If I had to make a guess, they're obviously different ones, but yes. As Todd wishes you would have asked about open weight at 300. Alex, Todd, it's all about open weight. Throwing that out there. But All right. Speaking of moving on, let's get to the Mania mainline, Alex. What we are looking forward to most this week, which there's some things mostly outside of UFC again for me, but UFC Vegas 91 is this week. What tickles the fancy, if anything, Alex?
Yeah, I think this might be the second worst Apex card they've ever put on, behind Aspen Ladd versus Norma Dumont. Because I was kind of looking back, like there's that one, there's the Jessica I versus Calvillo fight card, but at least like there was at least some finishes and it was like some good matchups. This is bad. But it's free fights, right? Woo! Yes, the fight I'm looking forward to the most is probably Jonathan Pierce versus David Onama. Jonathan Pierce coming off that he was on a ride, and then Joe Anderson Brito stopped that ride, and but man, he's super underrated. And then David Onama is just he's a madman. So I think that fight should be very, very competitive and very, very fun. Obviously, another one is Tim Means versus Udo's Medic. That fight should be chaos for as long as it lasts. And I wanted to highlight Chris Padilla, Taco, who I actually wrote about. He was featured in my Prospect of the Month a few months ago. And, it's nice to see the UFC give some MMA veterans a shot in the UFC. And it's crazy to even think he's a veteran. He's 28 years old, so He's still young. He's still probably going into his prime, but like he doesn't have a undefeated record. He has losses, but like I would rather have someone like that get into the UFC than somebody who's undefeated who's beat a bunch of fucking cans on the regional scene, right? Like Chris Padilla has fought big fights, lost big fights, won big fights. Had a chance to get on the Contender Series, lost that chance. Grinded on the Contender Series, fought everybody who's fought UFC vets, fought Bellator vets. He's done it all, and he finally got the call on short notice to the UFC. So it was nice to see the UFC give someone like that a chance to just like here's your chance, bud. Like make of it what you can,
Right. Yeah, a little old school. Typically those guys don't get that, so definitely good for him, and we'll see how he does there. Will be fun. Yeah, some good shouts there. And so I have some pretty clear ones here. I didn't even realize some of these were on here, but like, yeah, Ghost shout out to Victor Henry versus Yaya, only other fight he's watching. I don't think it's like the most amazing matchup, but Victor Henry is always pretty must watch for me. So just hopefully he doesn't get neutralized or anything, which would make the fight boring, but you never know. We will see. As he also shouts out your JSP versus the James Krauseless David Onama. He says, ouch.
Ouch.
But yeah, like there's another one here. I didn't even realize that Ivana Petrovic and Liang Na was on this card, and this is the last hope for Liang Na to keep her job. I'm a little bit surprised, as much as I've adored her and her rise or to get to the UFC, because it has not been good in the UFC, but she's getting another chance, which we'll see. Make the best of it. But it's a pretty tough matchup. But clearly on the UFC side of things, Ariane Lipski, Queen of Violence versus Karine Silva, fantastic matchup at flyweight. Pretty big one in terms of contention. They're 12 and 13, I think. So both on streaks. Lipski finally getting it together in the UFC. They can make a decent climb. I don't think they'll jump too far up in the rankings, depending maybe on how they were to win, but that fight will be very fun.
I think he needs to drop the Queen of Violence nickname, right? I mean,
it's not as fitting as it once was. I
mean,
because yeah, that was definitely peak like KSW champ. Lipski was a Violence Queen for sure. But yeah, that fight's going to be good. Looking forward to that one. And I was supposed to talk to Lipski actually this week, but things fell through, and I might get her today's Tuesday, maybe Thursday morning. So keep an eye out potentially for that. I'm just going to say it because it'll be short if it does happen before the fight. So there's that one. But the fight of the week for me, very clearly, and maybe the best fight of the week overall is the Rise Featherweight title fight. Chihiro Suzuki is back, Alex. I mean, the guy who had just a stellar superstar making 2023, defending against a true veteran. grappling specialist, where he's the striker. So a little bit of that classic striker versus grappler matchup against Masanori Kanehara. See if he can continue this magic, getting these crazy ass finishes and becoming more and more of a superstar. I mean, if you've seen Chiro Suzuki, I don't really need to sell you on him, but this fight, this fight should be pretty fun. Headlining Ryzen 46 this weekend, or actually, I guess technically, I believe the card is on next Monday, but it will be Sunday night for us. So I don't know what exactly is up with the day there, but it counts as this weekend. It'll be before our next show, right? So that's how it qualifies. That will be a good one. Check that one out, you guys. Not sure if we'll do if I'll do a live stream for it here.
Also, we got BKFC this weekend. Mike Perry versus Thiago Alves.
Okay, I thought that was next week for some reason, but yeah.
Todd Duffy versus Ben Rothwell finally.
Maybe I'm not sold that's happening until they're in the ring. Fucking Todd just can't get back at it, but yeah, that will be crazy. But okay, we got to make our predictions as we do on the main line, Alex. The main event of UFC Vegas 91, Mateus Nicolau versus Alex Perez. I think this is Nicolau's fight to lose. Even if it wasn't under the circumstances it was, where not the shortest notice, right? But there was the change up. And we actually we broke this fight at MMA Mania. You did, more specifically, originally. So yeah. Is that fair to say? Nicolau's just got to really not make any mistakes. I think he should be pretty comfortable here.
I don't know, man. It's tough because Alex Perez is really good, dude. He is. He's really good, and his losses are like to legit guys, people, right? Yeah. Like they're really good.
He did, yeah. His Mokaev win, like, I think there's a case for him. I don't remember if I scored that.
Yeah, 1000%. Like if someone would have said he would have got the split decision, I would have been like, yeah, makes sense. It just, I don't know where he's at, right? Like, and he's coming off a short notice. He's coming in on short notice. I do kind of, I don't know. I think I'm picking Alex Perez just by UD, but I think if there's a finish, I think Nicolau taps Alex Perez. So,
right,
yeah, it's one of those like either or is kind of a thing. But if I were to lay some money, I think I'd do Alex Perez because I think his wrestling is going to neutralize Nicolau.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I just think kind of technically Nicolau's very sound.
I'm bummed. I'm bummed we're not getting Nicolau versus Manel Cop.
I know that rematch would have been a very nice one, especially with the 5 rounds, because looking at how that fight trended, obviously, where Cape, in most people's minds, stole it at the very end of the fight. Like, give that fight 2 more rounds. God damn, it'd be good if it went that far, of course, which it very well might not. I want to see the odds on this, is what I'm doing right now, if you don't have them up already, but I'm curious with your take on Perez. Let's see here. Why this just
it's a +1. Perez is a +155.
Okay, yeah, I see that there. All right, yeah, that's pretty fair, pretty good, and what I'd expect. But yeah, I'm still sticking with Nicolau. But yeah, the more we think about it, there, Alex Perez has a good shot. And he's got to break that 3-fight winning streak. I don't think he'll get cut after, because of course he's being if he loses, the man who's coming in to save the day. So he will be safe there, but it will be interesting. As great as the card isn't, like, the fight, I think should be pretty fun. Might not be the best fight ever.
At least flyweights are headlining a show. Like it.
That is always a plus. Yes,
rarely happens.
Yeah, slowly becoming more normal. But Rainiel Yurge says, is BKFC a good promotion to watch? So, I mean, like, again, I'll say this every single time, I just don't care for like punches only. So like boxing of any variety doesn't really do it for me. But I do enjoy BKFC more or bare knuckle, I should just say in general, because it's more fucking violent, and it's just car crashes, which if you're into that kind of thing, it's good to watch from that sense, because you will get 1 or 2, maybe most likely 3 every single event you watch. They're very consistent with their violence delivery. So in that regard, yes, but again, I still prefer MMA over straight punching, which they have clinching as well, which kind of makes it a little bit different and fucking nasty. If you've seen it in person, trust me, it's kind of wild. What did we have here? Yeah, some people say too much blood, which I mean that's like the point of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just a garbage disposal when it comes to this shit, so I'll watch it. I mean, I'll basically only watch like the bigger fights, but I mean, you can't miss Mike Perry and bare knuckle. Like it's just too fun. Like that in itself is enough to watch. The thing I'll promote about bare knuckle is like there is a lot of finishes always. So like that's you rarely go to good decision, and if you do to go to decision, someone's gonna have a fucked up face.
Yeah, no, 100%. Todd asking, why doesn't Manel Kape move to 135 to fight Umar? If he wins, he gets a title shot. I mean, at this point, like, obviously, much longer line in the bantamweight division. I think that's kind of reason number one why he wouldn't do that, to get to a title shot. But as we've seen, Manel Kape was an incredibly legit top bantamweight before he dropped down. Was the rising bantamweight champ. Technically, literally never even lost that title. So he can hang at 135, but I'm just going to assume his reasoning is probably the line. I don't know, because he's got to do a whole lot more work. He's much farther from a title shot if he goes back up in weight at this stage. So
it's just crazy. He inherited the Ian McCall bad luck. It's crazy.
So crazy from beating him. Yeah, it gets from the fight. He transferred it. So whoopsie. All right. Well, from that, let's move on over to Spotlightville. Alex, let's talk about some prospects this week. Who are we giving some love to?
Yeah, I do want to say a couple fighters that fought last week. Cody Steele.
And real quick, one of our past Spotlightville residents, Paul Hughes, not going to the UFC. Right? Missed that one.
Yeah, missed that one, dude. Caught the ball and fumbled it. That went right through the UFC's fingers. Yeah, but Cody Steele won this weekend. He's definitely going to be headlining a contender series card this week or this year for sure. Cam Smotherman beat Ryan Coos. And it was a controversial fight. They've been fighting in the Instagram comments. The Goat Shed has been fighting with Cam Smotherman for the last 3 days on Instagram. Go check that out. It's actually very comical to watch. And then Louis Groulet, who I've been kind of on the Chi train for, won a very tough fight over the weekend at Fury FC, and I think he's a lock for contender series too. It's a very close fight. A lot of people thought he lost, but I thought he edged it out. Anyway, this week I'm going with Mitchell McKee, main event of LFA 182. The kid's just good, man. 26 years old, and he went to his first decision in his last fight in the main events against Sean McPadden, who's actually very good as well. And this kid is just there's a lot of promise to him, and I think it might be a little too soon for him to go to the contender series this year. But if he gets another main event win and maybe gets one more before the next season, maybe he could. But I think it's just he's still a little bit green, but he's fucking good.
All right, there we go. And I was trying not to laugh while you're saying that, because I don't know if there's a glitch or whatnot, or how Ghost did this. That's not an emoji I've ever seen, but it's hilarious. I don't know how you did that, but props to you, sir. All right, yeah, some good choices there as always from Alex. His track record's pretty good, you guys. But since we are a little over time and we got Sabah in here, I do have somebody on the lady side here, but as we've done in the past, or as I've done, if I'm not like feeling great about him, because there's not a lot of great choices here this week, then we can maybe just skip it. I guess I will throw some love to Ivana Petrovic, who still has a decent potential there, even though I was disappointed with her last fight for sure. But yeah, I think we'll just wait till next week. For time purposes.
You can skip that one, bro. For sure. Good choice.
Four Ounces to Freedom does say keep an eye on Maya 2 on the LFA card as well. Also Cedric Gunnison. What is up with this name that he just said right there? I don't know who that is, but
It's literally
M-A-Ya?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's it's actually just like that.
It looks like there's apostrophes in there too, or
Yeah.
was that an accident?
Look at the
Let me
link I
look at
just
this.
sent you.
What the hell? And he's an American guy. What? I mean, there's got to be story to his name, but M-A-Ya the second. Maya. Okay, maybe that's how you pronounce it according to his nickname. But all right, there we go. Yeah, Reigns. Is that a troll name that I've come up with? I know it looks like again there was a glitch in the system, but nope. It is real. Go to Tapology, you guys. Yeah, Alex just send me the link. But all right, on that note, we go from Spotlight Bill over to the Drelex Movie Club with the spoilers back. Let me throw them on there. Since last week we did have fresh new movie in Civil War, but this week Alex watched Dumb Money, which is still a newer movie from last year, but it's from last year, so we'll give it the spoiler chat, and it's a true story, so really there's nothing to spoil actually, aside from the things specifically in the movie. But I also then finished up the Planet of the Apes trilogy with War for the Planet of the Apes from 2017. So let's start off with, since I'm finishing up a package of movies, Alex, let's start with Dumb Money, which I watched a couple weeks ago on my plane ride back home. And then you got to it this week, my man. What'd you think about Paul Dano and Roaring Kitty?
Yeah, it's a good movie, bunch of stars in it. The thing about it is like I'm just too dumb to understand the stocks and stuff. Like it was very much like the housing crisis movie that came out, The Big Short, and
Right.
like I had to have my wife explain it to me, like dumb it down for me.
Fantastic movie though, that one.
Yeah, wow, 1000%. So this was kind of along those same lines. I don't really understand what they were doing. Like I do, like on a very very basic level,
Right.
but like it just went over my head. So I was basically just watching
Handheld.
for the like watching for the acting and story and everything like that. And yeah, it's a good movie, dude. Like it is the truth. I mean, this was 4 years ago, so like
Yeah.
I remember when it was all going down. It was all over social media and everything. So like it was very recent, and yeah, it's a pretty wild, crazy story that I don't completely understand. So, but I'm sure people that are into stocks and stuff would probably love this movie so much. So yeah, so I'd say it's like a solid 7 out of 10.
Yeah, it was a fun time. I think people were cast pretty well. And again, like you said, a lot of stars, which some caught me off guard. Surprising, the amount of people that are actually in this, but everyone played their role very nicely, and surprisingly solid chemistry between Dano and Pete Davidson. Right, that was fun,
Yeah,
dynamic.
for sure. Yeah.
I mean, they don't really look anything like brothers, but
No, not at all.
so maybe poor casting in that regard, but still a fun old time. Yeah, but if you guys, if you are somebody interested in stocks and know about obviously the GameStop story, then 1,000,000% you got to check this one out and we'll love it. Aside from it just being a simply good movie, despite what it's actually about. But Alvin is here. I love how he comes in just for the movie club, our guy here. I agree with Mr. Behune. I don't really understand the GameStop controversy. I feel like I would have enjoyed this if I knew the background. So yeah, that is kind of a thing about it. Probably the biggest issue is it didn't explain really so much. It's kind of one where if you do have the knowledge going in, it kind of enhances it also much. If you get what I mean there. It's truly entertaining, but those who understand the GameStop story, people absolutely love. Yeah, pretty much that's the thing. It's one where the more you know going in or about it and all that type of stuff. But again, still entertaining, all that good fun stuff. But all right, there we have it. We will then move on to here. Let me close so my tabs organize a bit. I'm all over the place. For
the conclusion of the trilogy.
The trilogy has concluded. And I will say there's a lot to get into when you put a bow on this whole thing, right? Because it was quite a journey, Alex, and an enjoyable one. It was a good, enjoyable journey for the whole Planet of the Apes. And kind of the big thing here, I'm just going to say this right away. the big thing, and this is a very big positive, but also I think maybe the biggest issue with the second and third ones. So this one and then Dawn. But so including though Rise, I like how they all had pretty different feels. You know, they all have kind of their own unique thing where you clearly know, of course, they're all a part of this trilogy, but kind of the vibe, I don't know. They just feel like different movies, like they're obviously Planet of the Apes movies, but does this make sense? You know, they just feel different a little bit in terms of, I guess, things obviously get more and more serious throughout the series, but there it's noticeable and in a good way. Like that's a great aspect, I would say. But at the same time, biggest flaw I think is how the second and third movies kind of just complete character abandonment in the sense of they vanish, you know. Like again, it happened with James Franco from 1 to 2, and then Jason Clarke and his family are gone. And I get it, it's not about the human characters, but no explanation. They're just fucking gone, which you gotta assume they died somehow or whatever. But that annoyed me. It was just like, let me know at least. Give me a hint,
Right.
unless I missed it. But that was just kind of a weird move, and especially when you told me the story how they didn't like even contact James Franco for the sequel. Again, I get it. I think probably because of the fact it's not the focus, but for me, that's kind of the biggest thing that especially took away from this one, because this fucking movie, man. I don't know if I'd say it's better than Dawn. Like it's pretty close. I really enjoyed Dawn. This one though, man, I think the CGI got better with each movie, undeniably. And the scenery in this one, like I think aesthetically, all that kind of stuff, this one is fucking top tier, and which makes sense as they're going through them all, right? But it's really close between Dawn, and there's very specific things that you could say which one's better. Again, I loved Rise as well, but again, very clearly a setup movie. As I said when I first watched that one, wild introduction for Woody Harrelson, who was excellent in this. Got to give him some love. Of course, Andy Serkis is Caesar throughout the whole thing. Excellent. Alex, I didn't expect Chase Sherman to be in this movie.
That's funny.
Thank you. Vanilla Gorilla, baby.
That's good.
What was his name?
Funny.
Winter. Good. But yeah, yeah. I think probably solid 8. It's like the same. I think you can flip a coin between Dawn, which I probably slightly lean towards, just because like the initial the beginning of the war and the Koba elements there were really fun. But this was like a great journey, and even though it's called War for the Planet of the Apes, like it's mostly not a war. It's a little bit of like an adventure type of movie of them going to,
And our guy Caesar and it meets his end.
meets his pleasant end. Yeah. So I remember you were saying, well, wait till we'll talk about Kingdom once you get through that. It's like, now I get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great. This was a very good trilogy. And I think, again, one of those rare times where, yeah, the first one wasn't the best one. Like, again, I really enjoyed that one, but because of, what I've already alluded to, great sequel films in a trilogy, which is not always the easiest thing historically.
Yeah, 100%. And it's crazy. I think a lot of people forget this is like one of the best trilogies of all time. Like it's up there with the greats. I prefer Dawn of Planet of the Apes is my favorite. I think it was Dawn, and then the next two are like basically equal for me. But Dawn's top dog for me. Yeah.
No, and it's like any order that anyone says, I'll be happy with. Which like that's a good sign of a trilogy. So Rio says he's so happy I finally saw it. Yeah, me too. It was not something I ever planned to get around to. So thanks to Alex for that one. The second one was the best one for him. Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I've looked very minimally at reviews, but seems like a lot of people say Dawn too, which totally fair. Again, they're all good. So if you have not seen the trilogy, definitely check it out. And it's kind of, this is also one last thing I'll leave us on with the trilogy here, Alex. But, again, I guess this goes back to maybe the character vanishing a little bit. But like, I feel like you could watch any one of these without having seen the others and be fine. Like they enhance, obviously, and it's important, I'd say for sure, to have seen the others. But you could really get by and enjoy them just fine in their own, like in a vacuum, which is pretty fucking impressive too. Like
Yeah, for sure. That's actually a pretty good point. Yeah, 1000%.
because they give
Yeah.
their like the brief overviews at the beginning of like all of them except for the first one, of course. But yeah, so
Yeah. The only thing you can be like, why is Caesar so important? Basically,
yes, yeah,
like that'd
that's
be the only
for
thing.
sure.
Yeah. So looking forward to like Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Like I'm optimistic
But
because
how
it's
do
like
they make it kind of the same way?
yeah, because it's none of the same creative people. Andy Serkis isn't doing the mocap. Like there's no, I believe there's no characters kind of coming over.
Mhm.
And
It looked like Maurice, maybe,
yeah, I'm not sure
or
if
just
it's
the big
if it's the
orangutan.
same. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's. I don't think it's Maurice. I think it's just another one.
Yeah.
So I'm like optimistic. I've heard like from early screens that it's really good, and then some people say it's a kind of mid. So
Mm.
I don't know. I'm very optimistic about it, but like anytime you get to see apes fucking go crazy, I'm down. Like
Go ape shit, if you will.
yeah. Boom. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'll be there opening night.
So that'll be next week, right? That's not our movie this week. Is my timing right?
When is it?
2
May,
weeks?
yeah, May 10th. So
Okay.
2 weeks.
Okay.
3
So
weeks.
coming up.
The week
All right.
after Brazil.
All right, perfect. So yeah, that's gonna be it's gonna be fascinating to see what they do with that one. But again, like please don't break our hearts.
See, and that's the thing is like I feel like the trilogy ended like basically perfect.
Yeah.
So like it's kind of a thing like, did you really have to make this movie? Like I'm not complaining because I love the franchise, but like hopefully they don't like sour it.
Do you know like timeline? Is it like going to be during like earlier or after?
So the plot line is many years after the reign of Caesar, a young ape goes
Okay.
on a journey that will lead him to question everything he's been taught about the past.
Okay.
So I'm guessing probably like a decade.
Okay, yeah.
After Caesar's death.
Initially, I was thinking it might be cool to maybe see some other parts of the world or something, but yeah, that's still going to be interesting. So, all right. Interesting question here from Ghostus. Would you ever watch a movie from the middle, then go back to the beginning, skip the middle, and go to the end?
I mean, you could probably do that with like Pulp Fiction.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But okay, Alex, let's move along to this week though, and what we'll be watching. What do you got for me now, man? Now that we are past the apes for a moment, just for just a couple movies here. What do you want to throw at me?
I have a couple of them from my list from like when I very first started. So I'm just gonna throw a couple of these out. See, have you seen Project X?
Believe it or not, that's one I never got around to. Heard about it, of course, plenty of times.
There you go, brother.
That's funny. I didn't expect you to throw that one at me, but yeah, never got to Project X, which is definitely up my alley.
2012.
Man, crazy. Time flies.
I saw that came out when I was in rehab.
Oh, really?
Sure did.
Did that make things worse?
No, I remember like watching it in the fucking theater. Like, oh man,
yeah.
my drug use really wasn't like this. So.
Yeah, I was in sophomore year, I think, when that one came out. So yeah, I remember everyone talking about it and all that fun stuff. But all right, so now I let's see. It's a tough one to match in terms of party element, but comedy maybe. So I have a good feeling that you probably saw this one, but this was one of my favorite movies of like the last 5 years, for sure. But did you end up seeing? It might even have been nominated for something, but Bad Education with Hugh Jackman. Yeah, that was a great one. I figured probably there, but all right, then let's throw it back. Now I got some comedies on the list here, some classics. This is gonna test how much of a comedy fan you are, Alex. But I got reminded of Danny McBride's catalog, and I was like, oh, these are some great ones I want to revisit. But did you ever see like his first one, The Foot Fist Way?
Foot Fist? No, I have not.
All right, there you go. There you go, man. It's karate movie a little bit. So a good old time. Yes, Danny McBride, Jody Hill. Of course, if you guys have seen Eastbound and Down, the guys who made that one, and they've made plenty of things throughout the years. So, all right, there we have it. I'm curious to see what Alvin thinks of both of these movies next week.
Right.
But Go says you can do that with Pulp Fiction. Yeah. All right. So that will conclude the Drelux Movie Club and pretty much our show, but we do have some questions about the other random things throughout, so we appreciate you since we are reading them. What do we got here from James earlier on, right as we started off the top? If you have the opportunity to watch a fighter train as a journalist, would you talk bad on the internet about them if they never gave you the chance to interview them? I have an example, but will not name. All right, thank you.
If you're not ready to watch you for a train of the journal, would you talk bad on the internet about them?
So technically, Alex does this. Maybe not the talking bad about them part, but like watching them train kind of at the gym is what this sounds like he's asking about.
Oh yeah. No.
Unless warranted.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. So obviously he's got a comparison to make, but we will not out anybody there. Coach Greg says, last week I said that Zhang's last 3 opponents do not prepare or care when they fought her. Don't you think there are fighters that have done that in the past, like Adesanya versus Strickland? I just, for me, it's hard to imagine or say that nobody cared or prepared. I'm maybe prepared to their best abilities, but of course everyone fucking cares. Otherwise they wouldn't take these fights and all that stuff. But preparation wise, yeah, like I think at this point, Strickland still performed amazing no matter what, but like Adesanya definitely underestimated him, right, Alex? Like that kind of thing. People will maybe underprepare, take people lightly or whatnot. That's a thing that definitely happens. And that's an example of it, I think, right there. As then he chimes in saying Adesanya is the better fighter stylistically, but he was unprepared and did not care after the fight. I mean, yeah, like there's the history to prove that, but even again, I think stylistically, it's just as we saw, an interestingly tough matchup for Adesanya. Like in a rematch, I wouldn't be sold he gets it back, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, 1,000%.
All right, well, let's entertain Todd a little bit since he's always asking about this stuff. Can you please ask the MMA bosses to book a few fights at open weight between 2 strongman competition winners? We can ask Todd, but they won't do it. So stop asking. We love you, buddy, but it's not going to happen. You know this.
maybe tweet that at Fight Circus and
yes,
they'll do it, you know?
There you go. John Nutt, a very appeasing guy in that element. And then he's asked, why do they keep saying smart cage of PFL? What's the difference between the smart cage of PFL and UFC cage octagon? So essentially, Todd, it's a branding thing because the UFC has the octagon and they trademarked that. So no other promotion in the world can use an 8-sided cage. That's pretty much it. Then the PFL wants to have their own thing too, which I'm sure they trademarked smart cage as well. So no one else will have a smart cage. It's just all branding stuff. So there you go with that. Wang Zhang asking, what is a pink slip? Just getting fired. It's a term for that. Hand in the papers. You're done, though.
Get out of here.
Yep. Rio asking, does Game Bread pay a lot? So I have not seen specific numbers, and I can think of off the top of my head, but I know they pay pretty darn well to the top guys. Good enough for some people to keep coming back underneath that. But
I've heard the numbers. He pays better than like LFA, like the regional fighter, so which is legit, but that's not saying a whole lot because
so a lot is perspective. It's subjective, however you feel about what a lot means.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah, and then he's asking, does Game Bread FC also have fighter insurance? Yeah, there you go. Mateu says, let's be honest, if you want professionalism, then you need to pay the fighters what they deserve. The UFC, Dana, TKO control that and nobody else. And I believe you said this after Sabah was on here. So, yeah, I mean, it's slippery slope, obviously, but
what they deserve is a very
that's also subjective. Don't ask Sam Alvey.
Yeah, 100%.
Todd again asking, can you ask the MMA bosses in USA to change the rules to those of ONE FC? We can ask them. They won't do it though, Todd. And that's actually a commission question, not the promotions. So unless you're going to Colorado, they're not happening. Jimmy says, during times like these, would you want to watch some Japanese kickboxing? Yeah, I mean, I'm always down for a good kickboxing match for sure. And I think Ghost even said Rise is this week. So if anybody is interested in that, Rise 117 or 177. I saw the numbers at the chat. I didn't star that though. So yeah. Jin says, speaking of Liang Na, Makoto, if Drake remembers him, of course I do. Makoto was the man. Said his chat group isn't allowed to make fun of her or Wu Yanan or they get banned. Well, fair enough. Fair enough. Gotta give some love when others don't, right? James says, are we looking forward to the dumpster fire that is Lewis versus Nascimento? I can't believe James even asked about this, but is that next week, Alex, or 2 weeks?
It's May 11th.
Okay, either way, no. Not at all. I mean, honestly, right after saying that, this is the type of fight Derek Lewis does some crazy shit in, right? Like the exact type where we'll be like, oh, great. We know what this is. Then he goes out there and like flying switch kicks a man, something stupid. So I guess we'll see.
I mean, at least it's not the Apex, right?
Yeah, there's that, which I feel like that might make it worse, but I don't know. Wong says, will UFC 300 be remembered for its number or the quality of fights? I bought the entire thing. Look at that. I think both, Alex. That's a great question, though, to close us out here. Delivered with both. It's easy to remember that it was 300. Yeah, I think for both reasons.
Yeah, I mean, like you think of what UFC 100, you think of Brock Lesnar, Frank Mir, you think of Dan Anderson, Michael Bisping.
Yeah,
you don't really remember St. Pierre versus Thiago Alves, but like UFC 200, just not really remember for the quality of fights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, more of the chaos right before.
Yeah, the chaos. You remember that John Jones tested positive and all this shit. So, but 300, I think we'll remember it being such a stacked card, and we'll remember the Holloway knockout, of course. We'll remember Alex Pereira. Like, there's like fights that we'll be able to like name off the top of your head.
Right, absolutely. So, good question there, Wong, and that will do it. That'll put a bow on things on episode 28 of Sound and Sound. We appreciate you guys. Always, and we appreciate our special guest this week, Sabah Homasi. I know they're usually not planned very well, you guys. So sorry for the lack of notice because we don't. It is what it is, but still a good old time. Great to chat with him. I mean, it's a bittersweet one when someone's in a bad situation, but we got to help get the spotlight on them. Take them to Spotlightville in a different way, if you will. But on that note, Alex, you can follow us at Drake Riggs _ Alex Behunin, MMA Mania on all the stuff, platforms, yada, yada, yada. Like, share, subscribe, notification bell. Shameless plugs, though, my man. Anything specific coming? You just dropped the interview with Austin Bashy, so I'll give you that one, which doing pretty good on the viewership. So anything else?
Yeah, got some my random tidbits will come out on Friday. Media Day will be tomorrow, which will get 3 people that care, and yeah, see you next week.
All right, there you have it, you guys. And yeah, I mentioned the Lipsky one. Potentially, don't get too excited for that. Might chat with her. Have not heard back since a couple days ago. But then Broad Horizon episode 38 is also out now. That released yesterday. Great stuff there with Roberto Satoshi, the Rising Lightweight champ. Kana Watanabe joined us as well. And then Juan Archuleta, who's going back up to featherweight, taking on Kleber Koike, the former Rising featherweight champ at Rising 47 in June, I believe it is. And then we caught up with Shingo, recap some community questions and whatnot at the very end, but always a good time there. We're getting close to Broad Horizon 40, you guys, so look forward to that one. And yeah, I think that is all I can share at the moment, but always working on other stuff. So until next week, you guys, we will be here again, 12 p.m. Pacific time every Tuesday. Enjoy UFC Vegas 91 and Ryzen 46 and whatever other shows you watch this weekend. But until then, we'll see you next time. Peace.